Hey guys, Logan Battles here. Welcome to another episode of LBFT. This is episode 3 of LBFT Season 3. For this episode, I'm going to be focusing on one guy. I'm going to be talking about one quarterback for one NFL team that is starting to light up the league. In fact, already has light the league on fire within the first 3 games of the regular season. And just, stuff like that. And this one guy that I'm talking about for this episode, and you already seen the title of this episode, it has his name on it, Patrick Mahomes. The star quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, there are a few reasons as to why I'm doing this episode about Patrick Mahomes. Various reasons. And there is one big reason as to why I'm doing this. And I'll get into that, but I want to start off with some of the smaller ones. Or maybe not the smaller ones, but, not major ones. Like the one I'm going to be talking about. One of them is he and the Kansas City Chiefs are now 3-0 after week 3 of the 2019 NFL season, becoming one of the only few teams to go undefeated with 3-0 records. 3 wins, 0 losses. I think if I'm not mistaken, they're one of the only 7 teams. I'm not sure if that's true or not. I'm just assuming. I'm just trying to remember if there were 7 teams that went 3-0 after week 3. I could be wrong though, so don't try to correct me. But I'm just saying that I thought for sure that Kansas City is one of the only 7 teams to be 3-0 undefeated after week 3. But again, I could be wrong. Nonetheless, they are still undefeated 3-0, winning against the Jacksonville Jaguars in week 1, the Oakland Raiders in week 2, and the Baltimore Ravens in week 3 from yesterday, I believe. Yeah, yesterday. And another reason as to why I'm doing this, before I get into my main one, is Patrick Mahomes has already been in this season, his second season as his second full season as a starter. Last year was his second year, first year as a first full year as a starter. Last year, he put. Hold on. Okay. Last year he completed 66% of his passes, 5,097 passing yards, 50 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and 113.8 passer rating. And then within the first 3 games of this NFL season, he has already completed 71.9% of his passes, 1,195 passing yards, 10 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. That's right, 0 interceptions. The guy who had 12 interceptions last year has yet to have an interception this season, within the first 3 games of this season. And it has already had, and is currently have a 134.9 passer rating. That's just incredible. What he's doing in the NFL right now, to me, is reminiscent to Aaron Rodgers. Just how he lights the league on fire with not just his ability to throw the football, but his willingness to get the job done, to win multiple games, in order to compete in the postseason and get the chip. And just stuff like that. And Aaron Rodgers won one Super Bowl. He was a Super Bowl champion and a Super Bowl MVP. And yeah, and Patrick, I think he's a 2-time or 3-time a league MVP. Aaron Rodgers, I'm speaking of. He might be 2-time, but regardless. And Patrick Mahomes already won league MVP last year with, again, 5,000 plus yards in passing, 50 touchdowns, and yeah, it's just incredible what he did last year. Plus this season within the first 3 games. But the main reason, and I'm now getting into it, the main reason as to why I'm doing this episode about Patrick Mahomes is because of this one important question that has been stuck in my head ever since Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs went 3-0, and Patrick Mahomes has already had 10 touchdowns and 0 interceptions, and already had over 1,000 yards in passing. And that question that has been stuck in my head that I want to answer, that I want to ask and answer in this episode is, and you already saw it, will Patrick Mahomes win another league MVP? Will he win his second league MVP this season? That has been the question that has been stuck in my head ever since the Chiefs beat the Ravens yesterday. And it's been stuck in my head ever since that game was over. And it is a really good question. One that is a tough question to answer. But I will say, yes, Patrick Mahomes will win another league MVP. Now, this is only based on how he's looking right now. What he's looking right now, he's starting to look like a top league MVP again. Or once again, right after last season when he won his first league MVP. But based on how he's looking, based on how he performed within the first 3 weeks of this season of the National Football League, how he performed with over 300 or 400 passing yards and over 3 or 4 touchdown passes against his opponents. Just when you thought that a quarterback who played so well in his first year wouldn't be the same in his second year, or would regress a little bit, I gotta tell you something. I have not seen any regression. I have not seen any drop-off whatsoever from Patrick Mahomes. He looked like he ain't slowing down anytime soon. This brother is, my lord. He's actually what makes the NFL a lot of fun to watch. He's really a lot of fun to watch. Just based on how he throws the football, plus getting outside the pocket and getting pressure from defenses. A lot of defensive players getting up on him, and he still makes passes in a similar way to Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers would not only pass the ball, out of necessity, but do so in some of the most crucial moments of the game. I can't tell you how many games in which he and the Green Bay Packers were down by either a touchdown or two touchdowns with a field goal, and he was able to make three or touchdowns or more to win the game by the end of them. You can look at his Hail Mary pass against the Detroit Lions at one point years ago. You can look at him coming back in, I believe it was the third or fourth quarter last year's season opening game at home against the Chicago Bears, where the Green Bay Packers were down. I believe the score was 20-0, and Chicago Bears scored a field goal, and so did Green Bay, I think. But and then Aaron Rodgers came back in the fourth quarter with 3 touchdowns to win the game. I'm talking about games like that, where a quarterback whose team was down to opposing a team comes back and scores 3 touchdowns against the opponent and have one of them being a game-winning touchdown or field goal. And that's what I'm about to see. That's what I'm about to see with Patrick Mahomes. There are going to be some games down on the road where his team will be down by a touchdown, 2 touchdowns, or even 2 touchdowns and 1 field goal. And he would be able to score unanswered points to win games. Now I think he has yet to do that, but he'll be able to do it when that time comes. But until then, he'll probably win his second league. No, not probably. He'll win his second league MVP. I do firmly believe that. Now you can make a few arguments against what I'm saying, and I can respect that. I do get that there are few players, particularly quarterbacks, that should be considered contenders to win this year's league MVP. You can look at Dak Prescott. He's looking very good right now. Probably the best. I don't think I ever seen Dak Prescott look better than he has in the last 3 weeks that he's played for the Dallas Cowboys. You can argue Lamar Jackson, despite his loss to the Kansas City Chiefs yesterday. I'm not going to take him out of the contention. And you might argue, I don't even know, Aaron Donald probably. Although I don't think he's putting up as much defensive numbers or particularly sacks this year as he did last year when he was considered a league MVP candidate. Just guys like them. You can argue Tom Brady, and maybe Aaron Rodgers, depending on when his team will be able to give him some help to win games. Although they are 3-0, so I'll give them a pass, because they're actually doing something else besides letting Aaron Rodgers carry them. But that's just me. So, yeah, the question is, will Patrick Mahomes win another league MVP? And my answer is yes, he will. Now it depends on which year he will. If I have to answer which year he will win another league MVP, I would say it would be this year. And if it's not going to be this year, then it certainly will be next year. That's just where I'm at with it. I firmly believe he will win another league MVP, becoming a 2-time league MVP in the NFL, based on how he's looking right now, how he's performing, how he has played, just everything. He is doing things that we rarely see from quarterbacks, of what quarterbacks do nowadays. He is just doing a lot of impressive things as a quarterback. And that cannot be questioned, the things that he has done for this team. And I cannot wait to see more of Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs this year. They might even go on a 10-game winning streak, as far as I'm concerned, based on the schedule that I looked at. Let me say this. Let me say this right here and right now. He has, and this is another reason as to why I'm doing this episode. He has some of the, and I mentioned early in this episode that he's putting up some big numbers this year within the first 3 games of this NFL regular season. He has, he's leading the NFL, and I'm reading up some stats right now, so bear with me. He's leading the NFL in passing yards, yards per game, touchdowns, and passer rating. Those are, and a few other stats, but mostly the ones I just mentioned. He has the second best QBR in the league, only behind Dak Prescott for the Dallas Cowboys. That's pretty incredible. He's just leading the NFL in some of those categories that I just mentioned. It's just that awesome. So, yeah, that's just to show you some reasons as to why I'm doing this episode about Patrick Mahomes. So, yeah. Anyway, guys, this is episode 3 of LBFT season 3. And I hope I can't speak. Sorry. I hope. What are your thoughts on Patrick Mahomes? Do you believe that he will win another league MVP this year or next year? If so, explain why.